Okay, so here we begin Parshas Nitsovim. Excellent question. Well, if we finish this week's Parsha, I don't think it's doubled, but we'll see. First, last week we had Parshas Kisavai, and in there we had the Klalas, and there we had the Klalas, and by the Hasidim they try to take each of the Klalas and they want to turn it to look at each klala to figure out a way how to look at it in a brachadik way. So that's last week's, but coming out to this week, and it says Nitsovim yom kulchem lifnei Hashem lekeichem. Hashem Moshe Rabbeinu is saying what just happened. Remember, this is close near to his death, and he says today you were standing before Hashem, you Hashem, the Hashem of mercy, the Hashem of judgment, meaning whatever Hashem is using, whether it's mercy or judgment, you agree to everything. Rasheichem, Shiftechem, Ziknechem, Shatreichem, the heads of your tribes, the tribes themselves, the elders of the tribes, Shatreichem, people that are all the officers, Kol Ish Yisrael, everybody of Kol Yisrael, Tapchem, the children, the Sheichem, your wives, V'ger Hashem, V'ker of Machanech, and also those that became Gerim, right? We had a lot of Gerim, right? Most of them died out because of the Averis, the sins that they committed. And they also, right, and to a certain extent, also Klal Yisrael got punished because they didn't stop them. But there were still some that are alive at this time, and they're there. And now we have the people that cut the wood and draw the water, right? This is the nation, right? The Givonim, that they may believe that there are some foreign nations, and they made a bris with Klal Yisrael, and then now Klal Yisrael, when they come in, they thought that Klal Yisrael was going to attack them, even if they waved the white flag and accept the Givonim, and they were under the impression that like any other nation, they don't care. They don't first say, either you can leave peacefully or we'll fight you. They just come directly and fight, and they assume that's what's going to happen. Even though Klal Yisrael didn't do that every single place, they first asked them to, tell them that Hashem is giving us this place, and we don't want to fight you, but if you don't leave, or you take, we become the kings over you, then there's gonna be a war. That's what they did to each place. But so they didn't think that was gonna happen because no one ever did that. No guy would ever do that. If he has the ability to conquer, and why would he do that in his way of thinking? So that's so the Klal Yisrael made a pact with them, and now what are they going to do for Klal Yisrael? What's going to be their service? They would cut the trees and draw the water, and all these people. So even these they were also there. It's unclear exactly why, because they didn't accept the Torah. This is when there is a chaytevet. Later on in history, when Bavel came and conquered Eretz Yisrael, he took people from Kuta and he swapped them with the people that are in Eretz Yisrael. And then they made a gerus, and they were also the people that cut the wood and draw the water. And later on, their gerus was uprooted because it was found that they were serving Avodah Zarah, and then that Lemafreya showed that they never accepted gerus. Because how could you accept Hashem if you're doing Avodah Zarah? The whole thing of Klal Yisrael is that Hashem is omnipotentism. He's not physical in any way. He's above all of it. He's the creator of everything, And Avodah Zarah is exactly saying the opposite. It's saying that Hashem is physical. So they lost their status of a Yid. But right now when we say it's talking about different people. So I'm talking about the Gevonim. And Hashem. Let's see, actually there's a Rashi here. So here Rashi brings that the Gevonim actually were Megayer. They came and they actually were also Megayer. Here brings, so actually Rashi says something a bit different than what we were just saying. It was these Canaanim, they came to be Megayer, just like the Gevonim. So is happened in the times of Yeshua. So what I said about the Gevonim, that's happening later with Yeshua after Moshe Rabbeinu was Nifter. So this is actually a scenario that happened before the Gevonim. That some people of Canaan, the Canaanim, the nation, people from the nation of Canaan that were living in Canaan. So I remember Gevonim v'yasu gam Moshe barama v'nasna Moshe chayt ve'yitzim shev. So very interesting. So it's unclear why these two jobs of cutting trees and bringing water, but it would seem to be that these were jobs that slaves were given, and even though they're not slaves, but to show that they're being, this is it's a lot of people that they want to be Megayer, so they have to show their submissiveness to Klal Yisrael. So that this is what they did. They gave them these jobs that were normally done by Avadim. And Hashem is coming to make the bris with them. So it's actually interesting. So we have Canaanim that have this gerus. Then we have Gevonim that it doesn't seem like they were Megayer, but it's what we said before, that they took Klal Yisrael to be their kings. They became the citizens as opposed to the owners of the place. And then we have later on the Kusim, which were Megayer, but then the gerus was taken away. Like you have this sometimes in Eretz Yisrael, that a person is Megayer because they're gerus by the Rabbanut isn't watched properly. So lots of times you have to have one of the good rabbis that are there. So he'll say, well, look at this guy. After he was Megayer, he did this and this. So that shows that his gerus wasn't true, and they revoke his gerus. So there's such a thing of revoking a person's gerus, according to his actions. But it's important to note. Yes, absolutely, because so that's right. That's the question. If you see a person, yeah, absolutely. So the question is, if you let's say, so So the question is, you're right. If he goes a year, the first year he's keeping the mitzvahs, but let's say within the month, you see him already that he's doing things, not averis that, like let's say he's driving his car on Shabbos, right? Everybody knows that you can't do that on Shabbos, right? If he went to Orthodox gerus, right? Everybody knows that you can't do that. You see him driving his cars within the first month, though. That sort of, yeah. However, let's say you saw him carrying something, and you could say, well, maybe he doesn't know that you're not allowed to carry on Shabbos. So sometimes you have to be mevar. What exactly? Right. He could get confused, I think. Exactly. So it's a case by case, but sometimes they see that the guy was just faking it, and it's just because he wanted to go out, with the Jewish girls, or vice versa. So now it's the lover of Right? What all of you gathered to accept the bris from Hashem, to be kairos, the bris with Hashem. It's a very, to sort of sign the deal with Hashem, to accept His Torah and to do His mitzvahs. In order to make you into a nation, right? There's a difference, right? If you go to America, you go to Canada, India, it's not a nation. It is what we call a nation, but what the Torah refers exactly. It's a group of people. But a nation is different. Nation means they have one belief. They have one, people follow certain rules and different things, so that would be a nation as when the word Am is used. So that's what we're coming here. That's what you're all coming here. Remember, Klal Yisrael, sometimes we're under the impression that there was only one time that Klal Yisrael accepted the Torah, and there was actually many times that they reaffirmed their devotion to Hashem and to His mitzvahs. So this is happening quite a few times. So here we go. So and that I should now they're accepting to be reaffirming that they're gonna be strong with Hashem, and they're also accepting Hashem when He's in judgment, whether it's mercy or judgment. Like I spoke to you before, meaning because this is not the first time, it's happening later again and again. This like the other times before that, the first time and the other times that you reaffirmed it. And like I swore, and that Hashem swore to you that He's gonna, that He's, meaning Hashem, He doesn't have to, do anything for us. But Hashem is also reaffirming that He's gonna be for us as a Hashem, meaning that He's not gonna leave us in the mercy of just happenstance and angels. Rather, He is gonna take care of Klal Yisrael. Like He swore to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, right? We also know part of that shua is that they're going to go into Eretz Yisrael. And He says, not only with you people that are here now am I being kairos this bris. Let's see what the right word for kairos. It's like establishing. There's something, you make a bris with someone, you make a covenant. I think the kares is like you engrave it. It's a greater thing. All the people that are standing here and all the people that are not here. And Rashi says, who's that referring to? If they're not here, then who are we talking to? The answer is later generations, us. Like how we dwelled amongst how we dwelled in Mitzrayim, and how we went through different Goyim, and you saw the disgusting and despicable ways of life. In those days, people would sacrifice their kids to the Molech type of Getchka type of idol, and they would throw their kids into the fire as a way of serving the idol. And today you could also see certain things. I don't know how far they go in all these, like India and all these crazy places, but they also they'll cut themselves and do walk on fire, all these different things. And obviously Hashem doesn't want people to mutilate and commit, kill people. So, and they served eitz ve'even, the wood and the stone, which is interesting. Eitz ve'even, right? We know by the Christians, it's knock on wood, right? He was being held up by a shesi ve'erev, which they call today a cross. And so that's Christianity, ve'even. And stone, that's the big stone in Mecca that they all bow to. they're not bowing to the stone. But I'm not exactly sure why. But some reason the stone has they're connecting that to Hashem, because they believe in that Hashem is non-physical. He's the creator of physicality also. However, Christians believe God to also be physical. So, but I'm not sure what this stone is, but they do this. There's this big stone in Mecca that they go there on the Ramadan. And you could see, if you're in Nitsovim, you could see on the Ramadan, you could see these, people. They put sacks on, and lots of them, they just walk. They walk to Mecca, 2 weeks, and they walk there. Kesef is Zahav, right? It's hard to imagine. Kesef is Zahav, right? Silver and gold, right? These are the common, idols of people. That, right? A person, there's a lot of, it's a very big lure away from doing what's in Hashem, being honest in business, focusing too much on money, and not on your spirituality, and all these different things. It says, then it goes on to give a bit of musar, and it says, maybe there is a person amongst you, or a family, or a tribe, which is interesting because we see later on in life that all these things play out. We find Shevet Binyamin, that there was the Maisa Begiva, and almost the whole Shevet Binyamin was killed out. It was a terrible sin, and the rest of Klal Yisrael came and almost killed out the entire Shevet Binyamin. So we see Hashem is hinting to things, and right, Isha, that we find, people, a man or a woman, taking people away from Hashem, right? Those are common things, right? Or mishpacha, or a family, right? We find that the Beis Chashmonaim later on became corrupt, or we also have Yeravim ben Nevat, all right? These families, they took Klal Yisrael away from serving Hashem, and what are they going to do? They're going to serve the other gods, meaning all these fake idols. They're going to serve them, and they're going to try to convince everybody else. Like we know by Yeravim ben Nevat, he made 2 big idols of golden calves, and he forced people to bow down to it. For us to just for us to understand a little bit what that means, force. Like in, let's say in Eretz Yisrael, and a person who's a citizen there, so they have to go to the army. If they don't, you have to get a patur, and not always are able to get a patur. So imagine so if you don't listen, they throw you into jail. So, we don't understand what force means because we don't have that in America. But you have to understand it's a scary thing, and you could get people to do things that they don't want to do with force. So, but I'm sure it's probably Rosh Valana. So, and now he's with this next pasuk, which is going to tell us exactly the way people think in the Western world, in America. It says, right, a person's going to hear all these curses if he doesn't go in the way of Hashem, and he's going to bless himself in his heart. He's going to think that he's going to be fine. Why does he think that he's going to be fine? Leimar, he's going to say, Shalom Yalibi B'Shuyus Libi Eleich. He's going to say, I will have peace. There will be peace with me because I do what my heart wants to do. I go with the feelings of my heart, and therefore that's fine. And according to the Torah says you can't just rely on the feelings of your heart, because sometimes usually most of the time, right, it's telling you not to do good things. When you're angry with someone, you want to hit him, but you can't hit him. Most of the time, it's not telling you. The heart is not is not something that could decide right or wrong. It's rather your mind. And next level up would be the Dvar Hashem, the Torah itself, teaching you what's right and what's wrong. However, today a person thinks that if he just does what his heart thinks, or if he's just connected to Hashem only with his heart, and he goes with his heart, and he doesn't use his brain, that he's going to be okay because he used his heart, or his heart's connected to Hashem. but at the same time you're stealing from this poor guy in your business. So this is the where you have terrible midas and you're embarrassing people and hurting people. So that's what it's coming to tell, that the person he has to be careful of this. I think in our day in Eretz Yisrael, you don't see this. It's there. It's different. People just think, if I have feelings to Hashem, then that's enough. But in America, you see more that people think that if I'm doing my feelings, then that in and of itself is a justification for what I'm doing, right? And obviously that's wrong. You can't steal $10,000 to help your mother from someone just because you feel that that's right. So La Yoiv Hashem Slech Lei. It says Laman Tzvais Rave Esat Smeya. So let's see what Rashi says on this. You don't. Tzvais Rave Lei Shai Sefei. Manasam Masha Sat. It's amazing. How cool. So now let's see the next thing. So here it's using the like when a person drinks, right? So what? So we're using sort of we're sort of using that analogy, and Rashi explains it like this: that unfortunately there are many sins that we do by mistake. It's not that we want to do that; we make a mistake and we do it, and we didn't realize. That's a shoygeg. However, but when a person's doing b'shoygeg and then he decides, he finds out that it's wrong, and he says, even so, I'm going to continue. Why? Because I feel that it's okay. So now what he did is, all those sins that he did b'shoygeg, he sort of brings a karev lemezid, because now he does the sins b'mezid. So now the other sins that he did now sort of come, it's not just a shoygeg, but it's a shoygeg that's karev to mezid, an accidental sin that's close to doing it purposely. So he's bringing up the level of sin that he did. And just like a drunken person, when he could do damages or something and it's by accident, however, when now he becomes cognizant of what he's doing and he continues to do it, then now people look more severely at what he did, because he's still doing it when he's sober. Now, Lo Yoiv Hashem Slech Lei, it says Hashem will not forgive him. Hashem will not find in himself to forgive him. So let's see Rashi, right? It's very powerful. Why? Because then the anger of Hashem is going to flare on this person, and they will jump onto him. He will sort of become like a magnet to all the curses that are written in the Torah, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will utterly destroy his name from under the earth, meaning people won't even know that he existed. One of these examples is what we, recently, not so recently, but what happened is the Holocaust, right? People weren't just killed and now you have a grave, but they were burnt, and the ashes were made into soap and stuff. They did all these weird things. So the person was completely obliterated, and a lot of these people were not, most of them, unfortunately, were not affiliated with Torah. So we don't even have a record of them. They sort of got lost, completely forgotten. So the Hivdila Hashem l'Ram, we call Shivta Yisrael, and Hashem will separate. Hashem will make them, bad things happen. It happens every once in every while something bad happens in our life. But these people that go against Hashem in this type of way, that it's not just that they're doing bad, but they justify it and say, since they justify the bad, then bad things evil is like, they become like a magnet to evil things and to all the curses in Torah. And now the Torah continues, and the generation that's going to come afterwards, meaning their children, that's going to stand after them, and the Gentile that will come from the foreign land. You have these Gentiles, right? Because they're going to see. So you have the children that are born from these people, and then you have Gentiles that are going to visit from a faraway place, and they're going to see what terrible, things happen. It literally means like lashes, but or terrible things that happen to the land of Eretz Yisrael, and it's tachlueha, and everything was utterly destroyed. So gufris v'melech sreifa kalaitza, sulfur and salt burnt will be the whole land. It will not give forth produce, and it will not. You won't be able to plant there, and things that are already planted will stop growing. And there even grass won't grow there. Right? Usually you have grass that grow on the walls. Even grass won't grow there. It will be like when Hashem turned over Sodom v'Amorah and Admah Nitsovim, all these 4 cities. It will be like all these 4 cities that Hashem turned over in His anger. And just to understand how that was done, right? We know the Beis Hamikdash was burnt. In the olden days, that was one of the ways to conquer land. You would start lighting the trees on fire, and that would sort of burn down the place. But Chazal tell us that there was also another thing that was done, and that is that they took salt, tons and tons of salt, and they sort of, just like when you what's it called, the plow. Just like when you plow the land, they plowed the land with salt, and salt prevents things from growing. And literally, Eretz Yisrael became like a desert, until miraculously, in our time, when the Yidden started to move back, things started to grow. Right? And the first group of Yidden that came were actually Hasidim and the Vilna Gaon's Talmidim. These were the first people that came, and they sort of, they literally were moister nefesh, and they sort of, took it from, being from being minus a lot to being able to live there somewhat. And then v'amru kol ha'goyim al me asa, and all the nations will say, why did Hashem do this? And what caused Hashem to get so angry? That's because they left the bris, the covenant that they made with Hashem, that Hashem made with their forefathers, and that Hashem also made with them when they left Mitzrayim. That's what caused everything. And if you go into the Gemara gives different stories of different things that were precursors to the Galus. Right? We know there was Avodah Zarah, Gilurai, Shrichas Damim, but Xela, right? We know different things the Gemara talks about. But the Makeh B'Patish, which means the last action that caused everything to come into play, was actually, right, the whole story with everything's slipping my mind right now. The whole story with what's his name? I'm slipping my mind right now, but the whole story with there was this what's his name? He was invited to the party, and then he brought the wrong person. What was what's his name again? I just slipping my mind.